Welcome to the Leaderonomics show, and today we have Rajeev Peshawaria with us, and he's CEO of ICLIF, a leadership body here in Malaysia, also formerly the Chief Learning Officer of Morgan Stanley, Coca-Cola, worked at American Express and numerous other organizations. Rajeev, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here with us today. Tell us, you're in the industry of leadership, right? Of building leaders. So much money is spent on leadership and development of leaders, but yet there are so few leaders out here in the world. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting that you asked this question, because I've actually been wondering about this question for many, many years. I ask people, and I've asked people all over the planet, whether from Latin America to Japan and everywhere in between, of all the people that you've worked for, how many would you call truly great leaders? Right, yeah. And whether the room is full of 60-year-olds or the room is full of 30 years old, the average response in every room is somewhere between 0 and 2.
So this means that they've only had basically zero to two leaders that they've actually...
Sometimes two people that they can call good leaders in their entire career. So the fact that, there are anywhere from 60 to 90 billion dollars gets spent on leadership development every year in the world, and the results are dismal.
So why is that?
There are a host of reasons, and I think you ask other experts and they'll tell you their versions of it. In my humble opinion, I think we're chasing the wrong horse. Okay. First of all, we're trying to teach something that cannot be taught.
So leadership cannot be taught?
Oh, absolutely not. Okay. You have to discover leadership from within you, and nobody can teach you that.
And how do you discover that?
So before I answer how do you discover that, let's talk about what leadership is. Sure. So a lot of people talk to you about leadership as being something to do with your personality. Others talk about traits and character and competencies and formulas and 3-step models and all that. Well, none of that is leadership. Yep. What is leadership? In our opinion, leadership is about two things. A, it is about creating a better future. Okay. The moment you decide you want to do something about the inadequacies of current reality and create a better future out of current reality, you're promoting yourself to a leader. So that's the first piece of leadership. Secondly, what do you need when you want to create a better future? The moment anybody articulates, when you articulate, listen, I don't like what's happening today, I describe a tomorrow that's better than today, i.e. I'm describing some change, what do you face the moment you describe something different? A lot of resistance, right? A lot of naysayers, isn't it? Sure. Yeah. There's no shortage of cynics in the world who are ready to beat you down and say this is not going to work. So what do you need in the face of all this resistance? You need tremendous amounts of energy to stay the course, to say, no, I believe that we can create this better future, but for that I need a huge amount of energy. By the way, the world is far too complex for you alone. You not only need your own energy to stay the course and create that future, you need the energy of a whole lot of people who can help you with
So you need to harness all that energy.
You have to harness, you said it. So leadership is the art of harnessing human energy towards the creation of a better future. Okay. And the reason why the 60 to 90 billion is not going anywhere is because you cannot teach energy. You have to find the energy first within yourself, and then you have to find the energy or help others find their energy from within themselves. Now, question is, how do you do that?
How do you do that? Yeah.
There are lots of artificial means of energy. Caffeine is an artificial means of energy. Okay,
works sometimes.
But what happens when the caffeine leaves your bloodstream? Okay, I offer you $1 million. It will get you energy for some time. But what if I don't have the $1 million to offer you? I put a gun on your head and say, run as fast as you can. You bet you will run. But what if I don't have the gun? So all of these are artificial means of energy. Money, threats, carrots, stick, you name it. What is the only authentic and limitless source of energy? And there are two things. One is laser sharp clarity on your purpose. What results do you want to create? Talking about creating a better future.
Right. So what is this?
Right? That gives you energy. The moment you get clarity and the moment you get conviction in your purpose, you get energy. Think about a time when you did something that you were really proud of. You worked really hard and achieved something, created something that was really special. Chances are you were convinced that I'm going to do this and the end result is going to be good. You could see the end result, you could envision the future, and that gave you all the energy.
Yeah, but the big problem is people can't figure out their purpose, right? I mean, this is a struggle, right?
It takes years, sometimes decades.
How did you find your purpose?
You have to keep asking yourself certain questions about your purpose, and sometimes it'll take you years, sometimes it'll take you decades. Some people are lucky, they find it in a week. But it's okay to take time, and I don't have a shortcut formula. It's not okay to not ask yourself.
Okay, so what are some of these questions?
What do I like? What gives me happiness? What gives me joy? Okay? Therefore, what is it that I am unhappy about today? What do I want to create? If my life is over, when my life is over, what do I want to have achieved? What do I want to have the satisfaction of doing? You know, clarity. And it doesn't have to be a grand purpose that I'm going to free a country or I'm going to double the revenue of a Fortune 100 company. It could be something as simple as I want to be the best mother. I want to be the best husband. Or something, I want to enjoy my soccer game every evening. That's my purpose in life. Clarity on purpose is the most important. And the second is clarity on my values. Not only what results do I want to create, but how am I going to create it? What principles, what values will guide my behavior? And am I prepared to act according to those values? Do I have the courage to act according to my values? Because, you know, the moment you start acting according to your deeply held values, not everybody likes your new behavior. There's two ways to succeed in life. One is, you know, you conform to the norms of society. And the closer you conform to what your bosses say, the more you get promoted. Okay? The other way to succeed in life is to say, no, I am deeply moved by the inadequacies of today and I am going to do something about it, which nobody has done before. Now you are a leader.
Some people even struggle with values, right? I mean, in terms of understanding what their values is. Is there some questions or things to think about in terms of understanding how we can understand truly what's inside us in terms of our values?
And a simple way to do that is to first ask yourself, what are the situations in life that cause me to feel emotions? Okay, the moment you understand and try to identify, these are the kind of situations, these are the kind of times that I feel some emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's love, whether it's joy, happiness, positive emotion, negative emotion, doesn't matter. You have to start listing, when do I feel any emotion? The reason why emotions are linked to values is, you know why human beings face any emotion, feel any emotions? The reason a human being feels any emotion, positive, negative, neutral, is when there is either a match or a mismatch between your deeply held values and the situation at hand. So I may not know what my values are. If you ask me the question, you know, what are my values? A lot of people can't answer that question because they haven't thought about it. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you don't have values. You do, because your body does feel an emotion when you're faced with certain situations. The question is, when you're facing that situation, why am I feeling this emotion? Oh, I'm feeling this emotion. I'm feeling cheated because I saw him hurting him. I'm feeling angry because she was dishonest with him and I saw that. You know what's happening here is, you're asking, because you have your deeply held value is integrity and honesty, and you see dishonesty going on,
then it stirs a emotional chord.
So when you're feeling emotions, ask yourself, why am I feeling these emotions? Over time, you will be able to say, oh, these are the situations that call me. That means my value must be honesty.
No, but that's true, that's true.
But that's how you understand what your values are. And by the way, once you understand your values, it's a reverse cycle as well. Emotions help you understand your values. Values help you control your emotions. Once you understand, now these are my values, next time you're in that situation, you're feeling a strong emotion, you know, oh, I am feeling this emotion because I have a value of integrity or honesty, or I have a value of hard work and people are lazy here and I'm feeling this emotion. Now you can choose not to get angry because you know why you're feeling that emotion. So you see the connection. So that's the way I think we should. And again, you know, these are kind of things you can't be taught. These are not three-step formulas. These are not, you know, copycat role plays. Or these are certainly not competency models that we teach in training programs.
Rajeev, the big question is this: if everything's so internal, this whole leadership development industry that's out there, is that just? I mean, what do we do with that? I mean, is there any value with that?
Oh, there's certainly value. I don't, you know. Well, let me paraphrase. I mean, the way most players in the industry are going about it today, which is offering copycat role plays, look-back competency models,
trait-based leadership,
trait and personality-based formulas. I think all that is, in my humble opinion, a waste of time. What should we be doing is getting people deeply connected with themselves, in a way that they can experience a little bit of who they are a little bit more. And then, now a lot of people are talking about the word self-awareness. Has become a buzzword ever since Daniel Goldman made it popular in the whole emotional intelligence thing. Okay, but self-awareness is not just, I mean, you have to get people in touch with their emotions. You have to get people in touch with and getting them to ask the right questions of themselves, and those are long questions. They are not short questions. So that's what I think this industry needs to, and that's what my colleague George Goldreaser and I experiment a lot with, and try to get people. That's at the ICLIF Leadership Center. That's all we do.
Okay.
Once you've sort of gotten to the level of clarity about your purpose and values, and you can now promote yourself to a leader, because nobody makes you a leader. You make yourself a leader, right? Nobody made Gandhi a leader. He decided to do something about the inadequacies of current reality, and made himself a leader. And then everybody followed him because they related to his purpose and value.
And Gandhi was very similar, right? I mean, he is a man who found his purpose.
Exactly.
Wanted to
life experiences happened to him, and he reflected upon them and found his purpose and values.
Right. And then he harnessed the energy of the whole nation to get independence.
And the whole world.
Yep.
Now, those experiences happen to other people too. We just tend to ignore it because the normal human condition is not to do something about inadequacies of current reality. The normal human condition is to cope with the present, right? And somehow survive. So anyway, once you've found your purpose and values, the next question then is, how do you harness the energy of others? Now that piece is a little bit more teachable. Okay, there are certain things that you need to do with people around you to be able to harness their energy. There are certain principles as a CEO. Now that you're managing hundreds of thousands of people, what should you be spending your time on and what you shouldn't be spending? What gives you maximum bang for buck in terms of harnessing the energy of hundreds of thousands of people? Therefore, what are some of the things you should be doing versus what are some things other people in your company should be doing? Those things are a bit more teachable.
So what are some examples of how you can teach some of these things?
So we researched companies in the same industry that were more successful than others. You look at the top players in any industry, the difference between number one and number two is not small. It's
staggering.
Huge, staggering. What's the difference? They have the same kind of people, they have the same kind of products, services, everything is the same.
And they copy each other relatively.
Exactly, right? So what's the difference? The difference was leadership. And the difference, one of the things that we found was the leadership team at the helm of these companies and the way they were spending their time. And we found three things that give you maximum bang for buck in terms of harnessing energy and driving sustainable growth. And that is what I call the brains, the bones, and the nerves of a business. Very quickly, the brains of the business is vision and strategy. It's not enough to say, here's our vision and here's our strategy and then done. You have to clarify strategy every week. You have to tweak strategy every month because we live in a very dynamic world, and you've got to check for understanding every day whether the hundreds of thousands of people understand it. Because people think they understand it, then they forget it again. It's the senior management's job to continue to create that widespread acceptance and understanding. The bones is your organization design. Do you have the right people in the right job? Do you have the right organization structure? Okay, the boxes. And do you have the right support systems like performance management system and evaluation systems that pay for the right performance? That's all organization design. Most people think organization design is structure, charts and with boxes. That's only one part of it.
It's really the infrastructure.
The third is the most important, which is the nerves, which is the culture. Your strategies can be copied, your organization design can be copied, but the one thing that they can't take away from you, because it's more art than science, is culture. And most leadership teams leave culture to chance.
So you've got the brains, the bones, and the nerves. Will this be covered in your book that's coming out soon?
That's a big part of my book.
Okay, and your book is titled?
It's called Too Many Bosses, Too Few Leaders. That's why I smiled when you asked the question in the beginning, because that's exactly the title of my book.
Okay, so Too Many Bosses, Too Few Leaders, and that's out next year?
It's out next year. Simon & Schuster is publishing it. It should hopefully be out by May of next year.
Okay, very good. We just have two quick questions. If I was to ask you to give advice to a college grad that's just coming out of school and is coming into the workplace, what advice would you give that person?
The sooner you can start asking yourself the questions that lead you towards your purpose and values in life, the more successful you will be. And do not get discouraged by the fact that you don't find easy answers. Start asking now, because it might take you a long time to find that clarity.
Final question. What advice would you give a CEO?
Find out whether your people believe. Okay, here's the deal. The job of the leadership team is to create clarity and acceptance around vision and strategy, is to have the most nimble and efficient organization design, right people, right job, right structure, right supporting systems, and to create a winning culture. If there's one advice that I have for CEOs and their direct reports is, as a leadership team, are you checking with your employees whether you're doing well as a leadership team on those three things? Stop going for personality assessments and 360 assessments that evaluate all kinds of things, including the color of your brain. Start measuring the effectiveness of your actions and leaders around brains, bones, and nerves.
Fantastic. Rajeev, thank you so much for being on our show. Rajeev here on the Leaderonomics show. We'll see you back in a bit.